Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to get into a really powerful Dharma talk that gives us a practical framework for changing our entire state of mind. It's all about moving from a place where we feel stuck to one of real, genuine freedom.
You know this feeling, right? We all do. Those days, or sometimes even weeks, where it feels like your own mind is your biggest enemy. It's that internal resistance that just holds you back from whatever you're trying to do, from your own peace of mind.
So there's this ancient Buddhist text, the Avatamsaka Sutra, that we're digging into today. And it actually has a name for this state, being sustained by Mara. Now, hold on. Don't think of some kind of devil with a pitchfork. Mara here isn't an external being. It's a symbol for all those internal negative states that trap us. Okay, so what does this grip actually feel like day to day? Well, the sutra gets super specific. It lays out 10 different ways that these internal roadblocks can show up and basically run the show in our lives.
Here are just a few of them. And wow, some of these probably sound pretty familiar. A lazy mind that just won't get going. Aiming low because you don't think you can do more. Or that constant mental sorting of everything into good and bad, like and dislike, which just creates endless drama. It's a whole pattern built on limitation and doubt.
But here's the most important part. The text doesn't just diagnose the problem and leave you there. No, it gives a clear, direct path to get out of that trap. A way to change what or who is sustaining your mind.
And that path is to go from being sustained by Mara to being sustained by the Dharma. All this really means is making a conscious choice to align your mind with the way things actually are. It's like swapping out a buggy, glitchy mental operating system for one that's clear, stable, and wise.
So, how do you install this new operating system? Well, the text gives us a toolkit, and it all boils down to 3 absolutely crucial truths. You can think of these as the 3 keys that unlock everything else.
All right, let's dive into these. And remember, these aren't just some lofty, abstract ideas. They're powerful lenses that help us see reality as it is. The first, and maybe the most foundational, is anicca, impermanence. This one's pretty straightforward on the surface. Everything that is put together will, eventually, come apart. Our moods, our bodies, that car you love, your thoughts, all of it is in flux, constantly. Nothing, absolutely nothing stays the same.
Okay, but this leads to a brilliant question that a disciple actually asks in the text. It's a great one. If everything is impermanent, then what about enlightenment? Is wisdom also just a temporary state that's going to fade away?
And the master's answer here is just fantastic. It draws such a clear line in the sand. All the worldly stuff, all the conditioned things, they come and go. But true wisdom? That's different. Once you realize it, it's a permanent shift. It has a beginning, that moment of awakening, but it doesn't have an end. It's a permanent upgrade.
The second truth is dukkha. Now, suffering can sound like a really heavy word, right? But you can also think of it as dissatisfaction. It's that underlying stress that comes from chasing temporary things and expecting them to give us permanent happiness. It's because we misunderstand impermanence that we suffer. The master uses this really cool analogy of spicy food. Think about it. A baby doesn't taste something spicy and think, delicious. It's just a strong, maybe even unpleasant sensation. We learn, we are conditioned to label that sensation as good. So many of our ideas of what's good or bad are just mental habits, not reality. All right, the third truth, and this one can be a real mind bender. It's anatta, or no self. This one cuts right to the core of our most basic assumption, that there's a fixed, solid, independent me running the show. But the text asks, if you can't completely control your body or even your own thoughts, are they really, truly you? And this image is just so powerful. The master says our self is like a leaky pot. Our capacity, which is shaped by our habits and our karma, determines how much we can even hold. You could have boundless wisdom poured into you, but you can only receive as much as your current container, your mind, allows. So when you start to really work with these 3 truths, impermanence, dissatisfaction, and no self, you naturally begin to move towards the goal the text describes, being sustained by the Buddhas. This just means your mind is being upheld by wisdom, by clarity, and by compassion. Now, when you hear sustained by the Buddhas, don't get too bogged down in the technical terms here. A simple way to think about it is that you're connecting with wisdom on 3 levels: the ultimate formless truth of reality, the joyful result of your own hard work and practice, and the inspiration you get from the great teachers who've already walked this path.
And when you're sustained by that kind of wisdom, look what happens. You get these positive states. They're the exact opposite of Mara's grip. Notice how it shifts from laziness to a real aspiration, from doubt to wisdom, from being bothered by everything to understanding. It's a total mental turnaround.
Okay, so we've covered a lot, but what's the bottom line? The point of all this knowledge isn't to just, win a trivia night. It's intensely practical. It's about empowering us to make a fundamental choice, moment by moment.
This is where it all comes together. The text lays out this really stark contrast between what it calls wrong view, which is basically being sustained by Mara, and right view, which is being sustained by the Dharma. I mean, look at the results. One path leads to confusion, being stuck, and suffering. The other leads to clarity, freedom, and growth.
It's night and day.
And that's really the heart of it all. This is the big takeaway. Being sustained by the Dharma is like someone finally turning on the lights in a dark room. You can see both paths laid out in front of you. You see where each one goes. And that knowledge gives you the most incredible power there is, the power to choose, to consciously steer your life toward freedom.
So we end with this question, and it's not for some future perfect version of yourself, it's for you right now. The whole point of this is knowing you have a choice in this very moment. Now that you can compare the paths, now that you can see the outcomes, which one will you choose to sustain?